So as of the time I'm writing this, Nintendo released a special direct for Splatoon Raiders a few days ago. Now this didn't come out of nowhere, as Nintendo revealed that they were doing this a couple weeks in advance, but I was still surprised by the end result. I was busy when this direct premiered, so I wasn't able to watch it live. But when I eventually did get around to watching it, I expected a 5, maybe 10-minute presentation about stuff that, for the most part, was already pretty obvious. So imagine my surprise when I saw that the direct wasn't 5 or even 10 minutes long, but 19 minutes long. It certainly caught me off guard. This game comes out in less than a month and we already know how gameplay works. What else could there be to reveal? Turns out, quite a lot. Upon seeing the runtime, I thought that a lot of it would be padded out by things like, you play as an Inkling, use your weapon to fire ink. And yeah, there certainly is some of that, but it's minimal, and the vast majority of information presented was actually interesting to see. I'll try not to list everything because I don't want to just summarize the direct, but here are the details that I found the most interesting. First is customization. We already knew that you'd be able to upgrade and customize your weapons, but the scale of this customization wasn't made clear until this direct. I initially thought that this game would only have one of every weapon class like the other Splatoon story modes, but that doesn't seem to be the case, as there are actually multiple different types of shooters, rollers, sloshers, stringers, etc. So that's already more options than I thought. But you can also upgrade these weapons. No big deal, you could do that in other games. What else? Well, there are also these little things called gadgets, which act kind of like a combination of sub-weapons and specials. These gadgets can also be upgraded and customized, letting you mix and match different abilities in a way that the player specifically decides. There are also ink tank upgrades that can increase gadget usage, player upgrades for HP and weapon damage, and another type of item called Salmonid Relics, which can grant you more abilities. So yeah, there's a lot of options for the player with this game. This is a huge plus for me, as many of my favorite games are ones with player-focused gameplay, as in, gameplay that lets the player play in their own way. That's certainly the impression that this level of customization gives off, and that's not even all I have to talk about. The second thing that caught my attention was the level design. I remember initially being skeptical that most of the areas we saw before this direct seemed pretty samey, with them mostly just being flat beaches. Thankfully, those worries were quashed as we got to see a massive variety of different areas. Before this direct, I was wondering which Splatoon game would be used for Raiders in terms of gameplay. The answer? All of them. It has the get-to-the-end style levels of the first two games, Octo Expansion's more task-based levels, and larger, more open areas where you can mine treasure. And if that wasn't enough, there are also ruins where you can dig underground to find further sub-levels like in Pikmin. When I saw that, I thought, okay, that's neat, but those ruins probably only go a few levels down. But then, at the end of the direct, it shows that one of these ruins is 23 layers deep. That's more than the deepest cave in Pikmin 4. So with that, on top of everything else, it looks like there will be plenty to keep us busy. Now, the final big detail that I noticed from this direct is that while it showed off a lot of what this game will be like, it barely touched on the story. There was only one teaser at the very end, and even that sequence still kept it pretty vague. And in this regard, I give a thumbs up. Cause yeah, I don't want to know everything about a game's story before that game even launches. That's a bad habit that presentations like these sometimes fall into, where too much of the game is revealed. One of the first games I ever followed pre-launch was Pokemon Sun and Moon, and I remember how pretty much everything about those games was revealed before the games even came out. It's like, yes, I do want to know more about these games, but I also want to save some of my excitement for when I'm actually playing the game, you know? And with that in mind, I think this direct, despite being long, was able to walk the line of giving details while still leaving plenty for the player to discover. I noticed how in the story teaser at the end, there seemed to be an emphasis on Shiver specifically. I don't know if that's just the scenes that were shown, or if it's actually a taste of what's to come, but it certainly piqued my interest, because I definitely didn't expect one member of Deep Cut to be prioritized over the others. But even if that doesn't end up being the case, I'm still interested in the story this game has to tell, and hope it can live up to the story potential that Splatoon has. Overall, I think this might have been one of the best single game directs that Nintendo has done in a while. And if it's at all accurate to the final product, Splatoon Raiders might be more than just a silly spin-off game after all. But for now, that's all I have to say. So, catch you later.